So, David goes to school. David's teacher always said, no, David, no yelling, no pushing, no running in the halls. I love that David has sharp, pointy teeth. No one needs sharp, pointy teeth. David, you're tiny. And David, sit down. He's being crazy. And don't chew gum in class. That looks just so sketchy right there. Okay, it's the craziest book. David, raise your hand. Look how scared his seatmate is next to him. David, keep your hands to yourself. Why does it look like he has blood? I know it's paint, but still. I'm just joking. Okay, David, pay attention and wait your turn. I don't care who started the food fight. Well, no, it was David. David, recess is over. And shh. Again, you have to go to the bathroom again. That's it, mister, you're staying after school. He drew on all the desks, so she's going to make him scrub all of them till they gleam. Have you finished? Good job, David. Gold star. And yes, David, you can go home. And then the teacher probably sighs in relief that she survived another day of David. So here's why I read that totally silly book as kind of a joke. In my class, honestly, I learned by failing that me telling you a bunch of rules does not work. You'll forget all of them. So I'll just deal with stuff as it happens. And I only have two, and I really mean this one as kind of a half joke, and they rhyme. But here's my rules. Actually do your work. Please don't be a jerk. So let's be honest. I can't actually force anyone to do either one of those, but I can sure bribe you, right? And try and hopefully bribe you into doing your work and to be nice to everybody in my class. And if you're not going to be, then there will be consequences. But I want to make something really clear. When I have to have a consequence, it has literally nothing to do with how much I like you, because as we've established, I already like every single one of you in this class. If I ever have to remind you not to do something, I'm just doing my job. And this is kind of weird, but I'm going to tell you how much I make, because I'm trying to prove to you that it is nothing personal. Consequences are not personal. I am doing my job. So I, as a teacher, 13 years, make a lot more than I did my first year. I make $49 every single hour, which is a lot. But when I'm doing my job, I don't want them giving me that money and not having earned it. That would be really dishonest, right? So if I ever have to just remind you, like, hey, don't do that thing, I'm just doing my job. Or if I ever have to give you the look, like the, right? I'm just doing my job. I'm just trying to help you do it the night way. Sometimes I'll lower your citizenship grade, which is a behavior grade, but that's pretty rare. If I have to, I might tweak your seat, and it's nothing personal. It might just be, you know what, I'm going to help that kid not even have to try so hard. If I move their spot, they just might do better in a different place. Sometimes I'll talk to you in the hallway, but that's really rare, and I barely ever have to send anyone to the office. Honestly, sometimes it's just the 8th graders being crazy in the hallway. I usually don't have to do any of these because bribery is, honestly, you guys, it fixes almost every single problem in a classroom. So I'm going to tell you that you're doing a great job all the time because I want you to know that I'm seeing that you're trying. I can see it right now. I can see you're focusing, you're trying to control yourself, you're trying to pay attention. All of that is so awesome. I'm going to give you coins like nobody's business. We will start having daily candy drawings. And so we'll have lots of candy that way. Sometimes I'll send a note to your adult and I'll say stuff like, your kid is awesome. Please go buy them ice cream or give them money because they're just amazing in this certain way. This doesn't work for everybody, but for me, I like knowing that I wasn't just wasting my time. If I'm going to do something, I want to make it worth my while and I want to feel proud of the job that I did. And I think a lot of you are that way as well. That is its own reward. It's just feeling like I did the best I could do and I can look back on that and be proud. So that's it. That's the only conversation we're going to have about rules, okay? So what I'm going to do for basically almost the rest of the period is I'm going to walk around and show you all the little mysteries of my class, including stuff like the labels and stuff like that, okay? So I'm going to start in this back corner, so Penny, you can kind of walk with me. And when I was in school, I kind of remember having this feeling of, what is the teacher hiding? I know there's something good, and I just want to know what's in the cupboard. I'm just going to take all of the mystery out of everything. So go ahead, stay in your spot, but twist, okay? So that you can actually just see me and be comfortable. Okay, So you're on your way still to 2 pieces of candy, but you're gonna have to keep paying attention. Little side note, there will be a very easy, super little quiz on the information that I'm about to show you. So not only will you get the reward of candy, but you'll also get the reward of getting an A on that really easy quiz, okay? So, for the most part, my desk is pretty boring because there's a bunch of to-do lists and the seating chart, but there are a couple things that you can definitely use on my desk. Any of these silly dollar store pens, you can totally use at any time. You don't even have to ask, just put it back when you're done. There are Kleenexes in multiple places because I hate it when I need a tissue and there's not one close by. So I'm gonna show you all the places there's tissues, okay? Here, there, on the counter over there, and in that front corner in that blue cart. So there's 4 different places you can get tissues, just so that hopefully there's some close by. If you ever need a sticky note, there's a little cat sticky note dispenser right here. You're welcome to use a sticky note. Some kids get curious about this. In the winter, because I don't have windows, I sometimes not having sunlight makes me kind of sad. So this is just it's called a happy light. That's all that is. Okay, otherwise, my desk is actually pretty boring. I didn't have anything to do with this corner. I call it the Mrs. Coates' corner. If you ever need to use the phone, you're totally allowed to. Just ask me first. But you do not need a cell phone at Albion at all. Anything that you might need technology for, you would use your Chromebook. But if you need to call, absolutely. You can also always ask a teacher to use the hall pass and go to the office and call as well. So no big deal at all. This one is kind of ridiculous, but this one has a little funny story that goes along with it. So a couple years ago, I think this kid's older brother was messing with him. And he convinced his little brother, the principal hides in these vents and he's spying on all of us, which is 100% not true. But that kid was so convinced he would not believe me. So I finally had the janitor come in one day and unscrew this vent from the wall so that you can see there's no room in there for anyone to hide. Fun fact, it's called a cool air intake, and all it's doing is it's gently testing the air temperature. So that's all that is. Okay, these cupboards back here are pretty boring. It's mostly lesson planning stuff. I do have a mirror here because sometimes my contact attacks me and sometimes my hair goes like, so if you ever need that, feel free. And this cupboard is also pretty boring. It's mostly just lesson planning stuff, but now the mystery is solved, right? Now you know what's there. Back here is basically, here's the tip. The crazier it looks back here, the busier I am, and the more sticky notes you see over here. If there's not a lot back here and not a lot of sticky notes, I am not very busy. So that's just a little trick. Most of the stuff back here you don't need to know anything about. Almost all of these drawers are decorations. Like, I have an obsession with the dollar store. Oh, that one has, yeah, I'll do this one. I have an obsession with the dollar store, and these drawers are just full of, like, Christmas and Halloween and like all sorts of different decorations for all different seasons. This is where I keep extra Chromebooks and chargers. And when you need one, you'll have to ask me, okay? But for the most part, you should be bringing your own. This is a fun one. So in Harry Potter, there's this magical room called the Drawer of Requirement. Or sorry, the Room of Requirement. Yes. In my classroom, it's the Drawer of Requirement. So I've been a teacher for long enough that I just am prepared for hopefully every eventuality. It's kind of a badge of honor. When somebody needs something, I love when people try and trip me up. They're like, do you have this crazy thing? And I'm like, yes, I do, actually. So the Drawer of Requirement it kind of turns into the stuff that I get weird requests for. Like, for example, Ms. Coates, my tooth just fell out. Do you have sandwich bags? Yeah, in the Drawer of Requirement. Mrs. Coates, my shoe is falling apart. Do you have duct tape? Yeah, I do. Mrs. Coates, my pants have a hole. Do you have a sewing kit? Yes, I do. Do you have wax for my braces? There's erasers, there's contact stuff, there's masks, there's Band-Aids, there's lotion, there's Q-tips, there's a lint roller, there's a Tide to-go pen. There's a glasses repair kit, you guys. So almost anything you need, I probably have it. If it's not in the Drawer of Requirement, it might be somewhere else. So if you don't see it, ask me. You don't even have to use this stuff. You don't have to ask to use this stuff. It's here for you anytime you need it. Even if you need to come in between classes, you are welcome to use this at any time. Even when you're not in my class anymore, you can still come access the Drawer of Requirement. I have kids come in all the time for hair ties and stuff. Yeah.
Can we use that bottom drawer?
So it's like full of decorations, so it's just not really needed, yeah. Okay, printer. Printer is only connected to my computer, but if you ever need something printed, all you do is share it with me through Google Drive, and then I want you to go like this, Codes, I just shared something with you, can you print it? Like you can kind of yell, and then I'll say yes. So it only prints in black and white. I don't have a color printer, but I can totally print for you. This is just extra copies in that bin. This seems silly. I basically have my own kitchen in here. I am so busy that I often have to eat lunch to even make sure focusing while I'm grading and stuff. So anyways, that's why there's a microwave and a toaster and all sorts of stuff. Is when I say again. Yes, there's silly things like that all over the place. Okay, I love animals like we established, but I have heard horror stories from other teachers where they had a classroom pet and somebody hurt the pet on purpose. I would not be able to handle that. So this is my fake pet that you cannot hurt, and it is ridiculous, and I know he's staring into your soul. You are welcome to change his eyes. Sometimes he's extra awake, and sometimes he's kind of sleepy, and his name is Rodrigo, and my husband won him, and that is why there is this weird classroom pet. The Shelf of Strange. We don't have a ton of time, but I will tell you one funny story. I want to make sure. Do you need anything?
I just wanted to grab a binder.
Always, 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 always. And I have like a pencil pouch in there and folders, all that stuff. Yeah, go crazy. Okay, so being a middle school teacher is really fun because middle school is so weird, you guys, but it makes my job so fun. So the best story, in my opinion, first of all, this is just fun, but is this one. So this was 12 years ago. His name was Dustin, and Dustin was on a quest to be weird, which I think is admirable. And he came up to me, the whole pony was there at the time, and Dustin came up to me while I was in the hall and just stared me dead in the eyes. He didn't say a single word while he ripped off the pony's head and then handed it to me and just walked away like that's normal. And I was just the weirdest but pretty funny at the same time. And that's why that pony head now lives on the Shelf of Strange. So there's other stories, but we don't have time for all of them right now. Okay, this cupboard right here is just a bunch of random supplies. There's Hogwarts Academy stuff, there's party supplies in here, so nothing that you need. The lost and found is usually empty, but if you ever get here and there's something left on your desk, just throw it in here. If you ever lose something, look in here, okay? The lava lamps are just for fun. That one's called Big Joe, that one's Little Joe. So the story of the labels, because we've established there's Hector the Projector and Big Joe and Little Joe. It's just one of those weird traditions that I didn't do on purpose, but it just started happening and then it just spread. So when you look around, it's just for fun. That sometimes kids have an idea, can I put a label on this thing? And then we pull out the label maker and we make a label, and it's just for no good reason other than it's middle school and we're allowed to be weird. So there's that story. Books! I love reading! And I always want to encourage it, but it's okay if you don't love reading. But my books you can keep as long as you want. You don't have to ask. You can take them and keep them for as long as you want. And I'll show you, these are series. These are ones that I got recently. And these are all ones that I have personally read and also really liked. The top shelf are also a bunch, but I just haven't read those ones. So anytime you want, you can totally just take it and yay. Okay, the buckets are important because flu season is coming up. And you know how sometimes you sit down and there's, I like to call it unidentifiable goo on your desk. And it's just like, what is this? This is so gross. So if that ever happens to you, or you just feel the germs, there's all sorts of cleaning supplies. If you use one of the blue rags and the spray, put the dirty rag in the red. Stick with me, guys. You're doing great. Okay, this is for, we will have a party on our last day together. It will be awesome. And so those board games are for the party, okay? The jars is what I should say. So this is first period. They're the only ones who have tickets so far, but this will be a daily candy drawing. Today we won't do a candy drawing because you're on your way to automatic candy. But when you get a ticket, it's a physical reminder of, hey, you're doing it the right way. Keep it up. And all you have to do is write your first name on the back, unless there's somebody else in this class with your same first name. So then write your last name too. But everybody else, just your first name. Throw it in the second period jar, and I do at least 10 winners every day, which means 1/3 of you will win every day. But on days where you're extra awesome, which apparently is going to be all the time because you rock, I'll pull more than 10 tickets. Yeah. Okay. So that's how the candy drawing works. I want to make sure anything else you need. Okay. I just want to. Okay.
Just hanging out.
Yeah. Does anyone have? Let me pause for just a second. Does anyone have questions about the stuff we've done so far? Yes.
So for the party, can we pull out decorations?
We could. Yeah.
How did you make that book say code?
I did it. A former student made that for me. Yeah.
What is that posing doll with the head on top of it?
Somebody made that just to be weird. Yes.
What is that, like, dog thing that you squish?
Somebody gave it to me, and when you squish its head, its tongue pops out, and it's just silly. I have no idea. Yes.
Is that doll head from that doll that has a duck head?
Good catch. Yes, it is. Okay, so moving on here. This one is important. I will let you listen to music a lot while you're working on creative writing. So you can always bring your own headphones, but if you don't have headphones, this whole bucket is full of good headphones. Okay, so you guys will use that quite a bit. Okay, I have an obsession with label makers. I have an obsession with the dollar store. I love labels. This is the land of labels. I put labels on stuff because I want you to know where stuff is. You might forget a bunch of this. So if it has a label, it means you're allowed to get in there and you can use the stuff that's in there. So sometimes kids come over here and they just start reading the labels because they can't remember everything. And that's totally okay. So I call this the flower cupboard because it's a cupboard with a flower on it. Okay. It has all sorts of stuff. Kristen came in because she knows there's binders. I don't know about you guys. Has anybody been to the Walmart in the last 3 days?
Yes.
It's insane, right? So if you want to avoid a trip to Walmart, I have extra binders. I have this little pencil pouch, all kinds of paper. I was the kind of kid who I wanted a folder for every single one of my classes. If you want these, you can take them. You don't need to ask me. These are free for you. You can get as many as you need, okay? This whole section has a bunch of helpful stuff. There's the duck of the day, there's a pencil sharpener, there's pencils, there's more Kleenex, there's stapler, there's tape. The suggestion box is important because I sometimes don't realize that I'm doing weird things. For example, Kristen knows this because she saw it happen a couple of years ago. I didn't realize I was saying the word like about every 4 words. It was embarrassing, and I didn't know until somebody was brave and told me, and then I worked on it, and I stopped doing it as much. Things like that, just tell me. You can put it in anonymously. It doesn't have to be with your name if you don't want to, but I read the suggestions. If you have a fun video suggestion, though, I want you to send me an email with the link to the video. Don't put it in here. Fun videos are really actually hard to get because for them to be 100% school appropriate is really hard to do. They also can't be too long, because remember, the whole point is that's when I'm taking roll. And it's actually hard to find ones that everybody thinks are funny. But I always love your suggestions. Every single fun video that I show you is a suggestion from a former kid. So send me more suggestions. Okay, this I call the office supply drawer. It's got glue. It's got a hole punch. It has a staple remover doohickey thingy-majigger. It has whiteout. It has paper clips. This, more sticky notes, rulers, scissors. Scissors, I would say, are my #1 request, and most kids can't remember, so you just start opening up drawers until you find it, okay? Markers, like a lot of markers, and colored pencils, crayons, and highlighters. And again, if you forget every single thing that I'm telling you right now, what could you do?
Look at the label.
Look at the labels or open up the drawers. Land of labels, there we go. Okay. Sometimes kids wonder about all the boxes. I don't have a storage closet in my room. You know how some of the classrooms have a storage closet built in? Mine doesn't. And so it's just storage. Most of it is for Hogwarts Academy. Okay, so that's what's in the boxes. This is not all that exciting. It's some lesson planning stuff, and this controls the microphone. Okay, so no more having to wonder. Y'all know the vault stays locked. Yes.
Does that old lady have a name?
Yeah, oh, we're getting there. Hold on. The vault stays locked because it's all the candy, right? So that is the vault, is what I call it. Another cool air intake. The hot dog is just for fun. There's this kid named Brody, and Brody just gave me the hot dog, and then I had a hot dog, and so now it lives on the wall. The stretching grandma poster is what I call this. It's not my grandma, but my grandma was delightfully weird. And she just owned it and just ran with it. And she had this poster hanging in her house my whole life. And it always made me laugh for several reasons. Number one, I am not even that flexible, and this lady is 60 years older than me. Number two, her shorts are ridiculous. Number three, it's corny. It says anything is possible with a little stretch of the imagination. So when my grandma passed away, she just started giving away all of her stuff because she knew it was coming. And I said, can I have the stretching grandma poster? And she said yes. And it just makes me smile. And I love remembering that my grandma was just silly. So that's why that lives there. There's a mirror here. I'm back with more labels. So I had a kid one year when I asked for end of the year feedback. He literally said, you didn't show us where the trash can was. And I thought, I didn't know I had to show you where the trash can is. Here we go. This one is Tiago. That one is Tutu. And I can't remember the one that's by my desk because they all got new games.
That one's Tulip.
Oh, thank you. Tutu and Tulip and Tiago, the trash cans. Yes. Yes. One day when we have time, I'll pull out the label maker. Okay. Then, it's important that everybody knows this. At Albion, we have a security system. There's a magnet that when you pull out the magnet, the door is now locked from the outside. We can still get out, but now it's locked from the outside. If you're ever trying to get in the classroom and it's locked, it's because the magnet fell off, so just pound on the door. Then this covers the window. We usually don't ever have it covered unless there was an emergency, which in the 13 years that I've been here, there's never been an emergency. I remember how I told you about the eye surgery I had and I don't have the best eyesight. That's why there's 3 clocks. They all have a name. I don't remember what the names are, but there are 3 clocks, 1, 2, 3. This is for emergency drills. Obviously, there's the light switch over here. This controls the temperature, but it only changes it by 2 degrees. So really, actually, you won't even notice a difference. Hall pass is obviously important. Stick with me. We did the hard part, guys. That was the hard part. All of that stuff, that's the part that takes the longest. Stick with me, and we'll do candy soon, okay? Hall pass. Okay. I remember in school needing to use the restroom, and my teachers would say no, and then I felt like I couldn't learn anything. So I will almost always say yes, but it's way better, and this is a quiz question, try to wait until I'm done with the lesson. Today's not a normal day. Me talking this long is not normal. On a normal day, I'll talk for a little bit, and then we'll start doing creative writing. So see if you can wait until the creative writing portion. If you really, really can't, I understand. So here's the process. You walk over here, you grab the hall pass. Let's say I'm in the back corner helping somebody. You hold it up and you yell, codes! And then I'll do this. When you get the nod, it means you're good to go. And then I need you to sign out, and I know that's annoying. So the reason you're gonna sign out is in case there was a fire. There won't be, but just in case.
There won't?
Then I know there won't be. It's never happened. But in case there was, I know who's in the restroom, and I could be like, Emma's in the bathroom, go save her, right? So you must sign it out. You must babysit the hall pass. I know that sounds ridiculous, but the 8th graders like stealing the hall passes, and then they get in trouble, and they have to spend $50 is how much these cost to replace it. They forget there's cameras everywhere. So do not put the hall pass on the sink. Take it with you into the restroom. If you put it on the sink and it gets stolen and you were the one that had it, you're the one getting charged $50. So babysit it, okay? When you come back, put it back. You can erase your name. That's it. You're good to go. I like sanitizing the hall pass every once in a while. You are welcome to. You don't have to, but you can kind of sanitize and let it sit here and dry, and then it's ready once it dries for the next person. Okay, this is just the emergency folder. More names. Sorry, David, I'm gonna use your desk. Okay, so this is Randy, the recycling bin. Say hi, Randy. Hi, Randy. Randy only eats paper. Only paper and cardboard. Does Randy eat soda bottles?
No.
Unfortunately, no. Does he eat your math textbook?
No.
Yes.
It's paper. Randy has 2 faces. One of them is raging, because sometimes people feed Randy things that make him raging. So far, people are doing great. Okay, this this is my dumb classroom window. I kind of am sad I don't have windows. It keeps falling off. It usually is up there. My mom gave it to me for my birthday. Okay, these will change all the time because these are decorations that will change based on the season. Calendar, so you know what's happening. Right here is the Mrs. Coates, what are we doing today question. Yeah, you're good. So you guys are obviously the 6th grade exploratory arts, and I apologize. They've changed the name of this class multiple times. Sometimes they call it the art wheel. Sometimes they call it exploratory arts. And I use all of those names. But you guys are 6th grade, not 7th and 8th grade. Okay, we're almost done. This is obviously the whiteboard. I don't use it very often because mostly I just project stuff. The date is right here. Happy whatever. We always already talked about this. Birthdays we'll celebrate if they happen during your 10 weeks with me, but I won't talk about it too much. I'll wait until it's the first birthday. Over here, this actually has scissors. It has the Kleenexes like we talked about. It also has sticky notes over in this little cart. So feel free to use that if you need. This is important that everybody knows this. If there's ever an emergency, there won't be. But if there is, I've never had to use this. The red button gets us immediate help. So we only use the red button for big things, you guys. If it's like, oh, I need a Band-Aid, then we don't press the button. If it's, oh, my computer just started on fire, it won't happen. But I'm just saying, that's something we might use the red button for. Or if somebody has a seizure, it's never happened in my classroom. It has happened in other classrooms. If somebody looks like they're having heart problems, if I fall on the floor and I'm not responsive, somebody please can press the red button, okay? Again, none of this has ever happened, but it's there if we need help. And what it does, it's actually really cool. It turns our room into a phone. The main office has an emergency phone that rings as soon as the red button gets pressed. They immediately can talk to just our classroom through the ceiling. And we would give them as much information as loud and as fast as we can. And it might not be me, you guys. It might be whoever's closest, or it might be who's ever able to. So it might be something like this. Bob looks like he's having a seizure. Send help. Room 404, Coates. Any information that we can, we would give them. Again, it probably won't happen. If it does, the rest of the class goes in the hallway so that whoever comes from the office to help can get into the room and get to whoever needs help really, really quickly. But don't worry, we probably won't need that, okay? The blue button you don't need to know about, okay? So, don't ever press those unless it's something real. Otherwise, just ignore that whole. Okay, so bell schedule is right here, but Friday's bell schedule is different. So everybody look back there. Friday is back there. Monday through Thursday's over here. That's the difference. Announcements, I'll always tell you the announcements. There won't be a lot of them. We're gonna start going that way. But that's the announcements board. I'll start using these soon. It's my job to teach you stuff, right? We established that. I'm a teacher. They gave me money. I'm supposed to teach you. So I'm gonna teach you stuff, and we're gonna keep track of lots of this different stuff that I teach you on the word wall. We're almost done. Stick with me. We're super, super close. We already talked about the ducks. This is the meme of the week and the quote of the week. This whole wall basically is for debate because I not only teach creative writing, but I also teach debate, so that's what all this stuff is. We already said what bell schedule, what day is this for? Friday, good job. And look, we did it. We came full circle. The last thing I will say that is where you are sitting is my classroom used to be a computer lab. And that's why I have these weird funky tables. So the holes used to be cords. The rolly chairs, you know, you're sitting in a chair with wheels. If you lean back, you probably will fall. It happens at least once a day. So just be aware that you're sitting in a rolly chair. And do you feel more comfortable with the classroom?
Yeah.
Mission accomplished! Penny, you can stop recording.